It's a great time in my career to release a best of compilation because there's a lot in my catalog. And what are the highlights in those 20 years? Which songs represent those 20 years the best? And that's what made it on to this new album, this best of compilation. It all started in 2005 with the revitalized self-titled album. That's where it all started.
Tell me a little bit about, just briefly, what your production process was for that record. Like, how did you record that? Real quick.
Yeah. So those songs on the debut revitalized album, those songs were actually written in late 2003, 2004, and early 2005. So it took quite a while to write those songs. And of course, they're all, at this point, I'm still all instrumental. The revitalized project was all instrumental. I didn't start singing till years later. It took quite a few years after writing the majority of the self-titled revitalized album to actually record the songs. And of course, I didn't quite really know how to record back then. It was all new to me, I didn't really know where to start. For the longest time, I was playing a lot of live shows back in 2003, 2004, and 2005, early 2005, before I recorded the album. By the time I recorded that first album, man, I just popped them out.
So you were a live artist that just went into a makeshift studio and started creating with what you had.
That's right.
And if I'm right, it was very limited, right? Like
extremely limited. That first album, the production, it's.
Do you recall what software you used to record it?
So the first album was recorded in Acid, and it was done in a very unique way, we'll say.
It translates on the recordings.
Back then it was really fun. It was really exciting recording that album.
Back then it was really fun. I think that's very telling.
Yeah.
Which leads me to the very first track of this best of. Back then it was really fun. So let's go back to 2012 and start me off on track one of this best of record.
Yeah, so track one, we're coming right out of the gate on this new best of with All I Want, which is off the 2012 album Abandon. And All I Want is a fan favorite. Just all across the board. You just can't go wrong with All I Want. A lot of people resonate with that track. And it's just kind of like classic Rose Phantom.
I think it encapsulates everything you've said really well. It's a universal message. It's a really poignant way to start a record, too.
Yeah. Not only does it open the Abandoned record, it's now going to open this best of Anthems for Outsiders.
That's a great title. So what was the mindset behind Abandon and All I Want in particular? And tell me a little bit about, like, your process of making that record.
Yeah.
And who you worked with and all that.
So Abandon was the first album I actually, worked with a producer. I collaborated with Dangerous Dane Morrow on that one. Abandon was a really fun record to make. It was very fun. It was exhilarating.
Well, I know you worked your ass off on it, too.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear it.
Yeah, the hours that went into that album.
Where did you record that?
And the money.
Yeah. Albums cost money, everybody.
Yeah. With the money that I put into that album, I could have like 5 more bikes. You know what I'm saying? 5 more Harley-Davidsons. Okay? Let me, be clear about that. So Abandon was written in the basement of this house, of course, and demoed here in the basement. All the
Okay.
songs were demoed. I did pre-production on all the Abandoned songs.
Do you still have those demos?
Yes, I do. And those were actually released with the 10th anniversary special edition reissue of Abandoned, which came out in 2022. So you can hear all the demos that I did. And I took those demos over to Dane's studio, which was in Holiday, Utah. And then we just started working on, we just started building the tracks. Kind of the point of this best of is to kind of breathe new life into these songs, especially the older revitalized tracks. Those are such a big part of my life and my musical history.
Foundational.
Yeah, they're very foundational.
Let's go to track number 2.
Track number 2.
It's called Dark. Clearly it's from the 2005 record, the self-titled Revitalized.
That's right.
Tell me that and why that track. Because it's the only one off of that record on this release.
Yeah, Dark is the only one that actually made it onto the best of. And it kind of gets us, that's the only track from 2005. Because this is Anthems for Outsiders, the best of the Rose Phantom, 2005 through 2025, a 20-year period. So I needed to put a track from 2005 on it. You see what I'm saying?
But why that one?
Dark was always my favorite from the self-titled debut album.
I remember you playing it at the Dark Arts Festival right around this time period.
That's right.
And it was like a fan favorite as well.
Yeah.
There you are. You're right there.
That's right.
Yeah, classic. Revitalized is like a play off of like music videos that you used to make with your buddies, and you were like making tribute videos, right?
Yeah.
But also you've been behind a camera since as far back as I can remember. Revitalized is very visual in title, in name, and in like moniker, right?
Yeah.
So I think that translates also to not only your music, but like the visual side of your representation. It's like you named your first band, let's call it a band, your project, right? After a visual thing, Revitalized,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
That's where it came from, correct?
Yeah. So me and, a group of friends, childhood friends, we used to, make fan videos.
Some of which are very popular.
Yeah, very.
You can search those out, but
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is like even that, like you've always been very visual.
Yeah, the visual element is a very important aspect. Not only is Dark my favorite track from the debut album, but it's also my first music video.
That's right.
We're not counting like all those fan videos I did. It's my first music video for my music.
Well, where can people find that video?
RosePhantom.com. You know what I mean?
So let's move on to
Yeah, we're moving on.
The Message. That's a few years after Dark.
It's quite a few years. Yeah, I didn't want to have the track list in chronological order. I feel that'd be very kind of boring. I wanted to mix it up. So we're jumping all over when it comes to this best of. It's not linear.
I would never say that the experience of your music is linear. But why The Message, and what record is it from?
So the message is a one-off single. It's not on an album. It's just a single. And almost immediately, it became kind of a fan favorite. People just love that one.
It's got a good hook.
And it's just, it's just kind of like classic Rose Phantom. And, we can't leave that off the best of. I've always liked that one too.
I can think of the chorus right now.
There you go.
Let's move on down to Differences and Heart Attacks. What's that from? What year is that, and why that one?
Yeah. So, Differences and Heart Attacks. Well, I mean, the full title is Sketch 1, Differences and Heart Attacks. That is from the Live at Storm Mountain EP. I don't think a lot of people do know the difference between an EP and an LP. You know, there's a lot of different schools of thought here. And back then, Storm Mountain, I consider it an EP because that was the intent back then. But technically, since the runtime is over 20 minutes, it technically is a live album. Yeah. But I still consider it an EP because that was the original intent.
The spirit of it, yeah.
Exactly. The same goes with Wicked Flowers.
Yeah, you've done a few EPs.
Yeah, I've done 10 EPs.
That's a lot.
And when I say 10 EPs, I'm counting Storm Mountain, Wicked Flowers, and so on. So anyway, Differences and Heart Attacks is the first track off the Live at Storm Mountain EP. And that track, I feel it kind of sums up that whole experience, yes. And just that whole Storm Mountain thing I was doing, it just that's like the track.
I've always loved this song, and I love the title. And it's from your second release, from the Moon Driven Dark, the Deja Vu Mirror.
Deja Vu Mirror would be me in my full-blown Jean-Michel Jarre, very much inspired back then by a lot of the Jarre stuff. I kind of saw myself as the new Jarre, if I could be so bold. I wanted to do the whole thing, though. The light shows downtown on the buildings and all that. It's like that's where my mindset was back then, especially on that second revitalized album.
Very visual, again.
Yes.
Like the visual performances. That's like goes back to the namesake,
Absolutely.
The Moon Driven Dark has, I think, maybe the first electric guitar performance on a revitalized record.
It does.
And I don't know who played it, but the guy who's doing it, it's very,
I'll
very King Edward.
I'll speak on that. So the Moon Driven Dark, of course, is my second album, my second revitalized album, and it's quite the leap. Not only in the songwriting, but the production, everything. It's a massive leap, actually. Of course, I didn't realize this at the time. You just naturally progress. But, listening back, it's like, wow. And they're only, it's like a year apart. 2005, and then Moon Driven Dark is 2006. That's quite the leap, sonically.
And you had some experience in another studio as well, like starting your first record with your rock band that you were in.
Yeah.
You had that going for you as well.
All the while, I was working in Melodramas as well, which, was the rock band that my brother led, or tried to lead. That's funny. It is. Deja Vu Mirror is the fan favorite from that. But personally, it's not my favorite from that record. But that song it's an important one in my history, and also not only because of the leap in production, but like I said, the songwriting. And we also have a killer guitar solo from Eddie Van Halen. I'm kidding.
May he rest in peace.
Zachary Hale. The guitar solo is it's very loud. Those are my memories of that. The house was shaking
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
recording that. Yeah, it's a great solo. It complements the track really well, and that was kind of like the start of bringing more guitar.
The
into-
rockification.
Yes, the rockification.
Your embrace of the rock.
Yeah,
Came over today and
Which-
listened to Skid Row. Loved it.
that's right. Which is, it seems like the older I get, the more my musical tastes seem to get heavier.
Speaking of heavy, track 6. That's a great number for this. 6 feet under is
Yeah.
track 6.
That's right.
That's pretty heavy.
Yep, it's also track 6 on Voodoo because that's where that song comes from, which is the 2023 album.
I think that's an overlooked record.
Absolutely, yeah. We could say that's my favorite track from the Voodoo album. And it embodies the vibe of that album. It has a lot of classic Rose Phantom elements in it. You know, that album was kind of my return to darkwave, because I kind of ditched darkwave for a while.
Real quick, don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Right off the top of your head. What's your darkest album? Go.
A lot of people say my music's dark, but honestly, I don't think it is.
That's interesting.
It's miserable for the most part. There's a lot of misery in it, but also there's a lot of it's very beautiful.
Well, I think that's a great transition to track number 7.
Yeah.
Also, an interesting number for this one. Number 7, Peace of Mind.
Peace of Mind is it's a special track. It's one of my favorites. And it's an important track along with the other 3 on the Sympathy EP from 2019 to take the Rose Phantom out of this dark,
The darkwave thing.
yeah, like we want to expand here. That EP, that entire EP, the whole reason we can say for that EP was to put me on a new road.
I love it. So was it all just a false alarm?
Okay, is that what we got next?
That's it.
Well, here's the deal about False Alarm. And of course, I put the game mix on the best of, which the game mix is from 2019. But the original track, is from the 2016.
Do that again without the you-knows.
I've come to peace with the you-knows.
So you did a 2019 remix, the game mix of False Alarm.
Yeah, because, False Alarm, it's a solid track. It is. I'm just not happy, or I should say I wasn't happy with the original mix. That's why I remixed it in 2019 and gave it, the game mix. And, that's what made it onto the best of, because that's the better mix.
Well, it's like the first mix was a False Alarm.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
One of my favorite tracks is number 9, and the Number of Deception. I love it. Death standing in your sorrow. I think this was for me when I saw this. I remember where I was. I remember exactly where I was. I was living in Washington, and this video premiered, and I was like, holy! I had to watch it like 6 times. It was so striking, and to me, it was like a visual kind of like fu to everything established, but also like positive, if that makes sense. It was just like You know, there's also some humor involved in your music, and I think that this video encapsulated that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about this, because for me, this was like a really big comeback.
Well, as we discussed with the Sympathy EP, going down that more rock and roll, guitar driven desert rock road, that led us to Dead Ringers, which is, my 2020 album. And one of the standout tracks is definitely Death Standing in Your Sorrow. And I believe that was the first song I wrote for the album. We've got a lot of more rock inspirations going on that one.
And you played everything on this.
Yes. Yeah, so...
And you're doing everything live.
That's right. It's I wanted that album in particular to sound very much like it was recorded in a garage. That's what I wanted. I wanted the mistakes. I wanted the human element. Yeah. I don't want everything quantized on a grid or anything like that. Forget about auto-tune. I don't use that shit.
I find it offensive.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's like if you can't sing it, you shouldn't even be singing. You should be working at the snack bar. You know what I mean?
Bob Barker.
And the same thing goes for playing drums. If we're going to have to quantize your drums, you don't belong behind the fucking drum kit.
One of the strongest tracks, in my opinion, of the Revitalized era, and this was the third Revitalized album.
Yep, Look In is the third Revitalized album from 2007.
Great year.
And there's a lot of classic tracks on that album. Look In, the title track, it's not my favorite on the record, but it is a fan favorite, and it is, we could say, the most memorable from that album.
You had also made a really kind of cutting, fresh, all live, by the way.
Earlier
rock album.
Yeah.
At this same year.
Earlier that year.
With a really great band.
Yes, earlier that year.
Live, right?
Yeah, Melodramas released the debut 30 Silver Pieces. I believe we released that in July of 2007. Looking came out December 5th, 2007.
So you were busy.
Very busy.
This was a few years ago, maybe a year or two ago.
Yeah, what do we got?
Win Big in This Town.
Yeah.
Kind of a fun track.
Yeah.
Very different from the rest of your catalog.
And that is why it made it onto the best of. Because it's different. And, we're kind of going back down the kind of desert rock, ZZ Top.
Oh, totally.
That was where my mindset was with that track, for sure. Aside from like ZZ Top being a big inspiration on that track in particular, of course, Las Vegas. I was spending quite a lot of time in Vegas. I kept, finding myself in Las Vegas for different reasons. And, there's a certain vibe down there, of course. But while I was down there, I was kind of romanticizing the old school Vegas vibe. I was kind of dreaming of that. Like Las Vegas in 1989. Wow. Take me there.
It's like that Val Kilmer movie.
Kill Me Again.
Yep.
Let's write a song about it, about this desert drifter on his Harley,
Well, I think you nailed it. It translates.
Yeah, it's like at the next exit, we're looking to win big in this town.
So we're going to go from riding on a Harley-Davidson through the desert to riding in a Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of getting into, to me, this track reminds me of a really great film called Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah.
This is from the Abandon album. It's called Until.
Yep.
Track 12.
Until is a fan favorite.
The production on it is insanely beautiful.
Yeah, it's a very murky track.
Well, if anything, it fits the lyric. I think Intel's great. I'm really glad to see it here. Track 13.
What do we got?
This one's great. This reminds me, it's very like melancholy. It's almost melodramatic, the way it's delivered. It reminds me kind of like David Lynch, Broken Little Heart.
A Broken Little Heart from the Dead Ringers album. Yeah,
2020?
2020. You know, I think,
Kind of says it all in the title.
yeah, I'm trying to find, how can I elaborate on that,
I
you
think
know?
it says it all. Listen to the track. It makes sense why it's here.
I think it's one of the standout tracks from Dead Ringers, for sure. And you know, that album, when it first came out, I didn't like it.
I didn't like the album, or you didn't?
I didn't like the album. I thought maybe I went too far with the kind of garage production, you know, but as the years go on, I think it's probably my best album.
Wow.
At least, like, in regards to songwriting.
Okay.
I feel it's very, the songs are just really well written. And sometimes I wonder, it's like, who wrote this? It's like, I don't remember writing it.
Is it all just an illusion?
No, it's a grand illusion. Grand Illusion and the entire Sounds from the Canyon album is still some of my personal favorite stuff musically that I've done. There's only 4 revitalized albums, and Sounds from the Canyon, which was recorded live in Butterfield Canyon, just you know, west.
Kind of incredible how you did that. I know that there's maybe a small documentary about it, or at least like an EPK on
Yeah.
kind of showing the process.
Uh-huh.
Kind of a bold move. A lot of people don't do that.
Yeah. A lot of people don't do, you know,
Well, yeah.
most of the shit I did.
I guess one thing I would recommend with anything from this record is, like, to me, if I'm being honest, it's hard to break songs, or to me, chapters off of this record. To me, it's best
As a whole.
represented, just put it on and let it play.
I'm very proud of that record. But Grand Illusion is kind of like, it embodies the whole, you know, soul.
Well, it makes sense because the earlier Revitalized, like you said, was more Jean-Michel Jarre, Tangerine Dream, or, you know, I know you were listening to a lot of, like, Steve Roach and, you know,
Yeah,
Patrick O'Hearn.
A lot of the ambient stuff, yeah.
A lot of that stuff. But I think this is kind of where Revitalized reached its maximum potential.
Yeah.
You could really hear the Rose Phantom. And it was like, all right, now that we've done that, it's time to go down a different road.
Yeah, I mean, what do you do after recording an album live in a canyon? What do you do after that?
Well,
In regards to instrumental music, what do you do? Where do
I know
you
what
take...
do.
You started a duo, and
That's right.
you write a whole record, I think, that encapsulates, or it has a lot of my favorite songs you've ever written on it.
Yeah,
This is one of them.
yeah,
It's called Sacrifice Season.
yeah.
And are you going to be there? Or?
Funny guy. So, yeah, so, you know, what do you do after Sounds from the Canyon? What do you do after that? So, late 2008, I start writing songs with lyrics. And, you know, one thing led to another, and then I have all these songs. Actual songs with lyrics. The first time ever in my life. But can I sing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You know, I was against singing for so many years. I just thought, nah, you know, I'm not a singer. So I had all these songs that just kind of came out of thin air, you know, songs with lyrics, finished and everything. So I, you know, of course I start recording the stuff, and I'm just, you know, I'm just gonna sing them. I don't know if I could sing, but I'm just gonna see what I can do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not using my voice like I did in some of the revitalized tracks where it's more of a vocal layer, but actually, putting the vocal front and center. You know what I'm saying?
Like a traditional.
Yeah, like this is about the vocal now. But we could say that I wasn't quite confident.
Well, I think it shows vulnerability, and once again, it's very genuine because
Yeah.
nothing stops you.
Well, here's the thing. Since I'm not quite ready, I get the idea to involve my then girlfriend into the project because she had a good voice. It's almost like I needed to bring her in to take the pressure off of me. It's almost like I want to put her front and center and put me around her. So then it's like, okay, I should market this thing as a duo, even though, in reality, this is my debut vocal album.
And some of the lowest vocals I've ever heard, by the way, like Dave Gahan, Eat Your Heart Out. Vila Vallo, Eat Your Heart Out.
Yeah.
Peter Steele, Eat Your Heart Out.
Yeah. So
I don't think I've ever heard a record that's more goth either.
Yes.
Not only in sound, but the record is super murky. It's like
very murky.
It's like muggy.
As I was recording the debut Sleep Slid In album, The Open Diary, I was working in Melodramas, and we were working on the second Melodramas record. So this was all happening all at the same time. There was a lot going on.
Didn't all four members of the band play on the
That's
Open
right.
Diary?
All four members make an appearance on the Open Diary.
There's a breathtaking drum performance on the
Wind. Yes, The Wind by Andrew Hopkins. That's right. And it's not quantized or anything, and it maybe should have been. So Sleep Slid In, of course, it was just the one album, The Open Diary. And, after the album, the relationship ended between me and Whitney Willow. And so that kind of ended the duo Sleep Slid In project.
It didn't end because of the duo, did it? Not that we want details, but
Well, I mean, the relationship ended. Shortly thereafter, I remember this like it was yesterday. This epiphany hit me. And it was, why don't you just go buy the Rose Phantom? You always have. But musically, like if you look in the credits, it's all of all the albums, revitalized everything, it says the Rose Phantom. So why am I hiding behind all these monikers when I should just be the Rose Phantom? It was such a moment where the lights turned on for once.
Yeah.
I started going by that alias in high school.
You're witnessing TVTV and the Rose Phantom, and this is the publicist.
2003 is when I adopted that name. One of my regrets is having all these monikers through the years, and not just being the Rose Phantom the whole time.
I think it makes the story interesting and it makes the evolution
I suppose.
very interesting as an outsider.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to that word later.
That's right.
But tell me about the progressive monster of Destiny Wants My Heart. Tell me about that track.
Okay, so Destiny Wants My Heart. Yeah, another favorite.
It's like 6 songs in one,
It's a lot.
but it all makes sense.
And,
I think it's absolutely brilliant.
well, the music video's not. The music video's a train wreck.
I enjoy it.
Oh, man.
But
What was I thinking?
I think it's my favorite. It's hard to pick, but I think it's my favorite Rose Phantom track ever.
Wow.
I think it is.
Are you sure?
I think it is.
Man.
It's wonderful. I just think it's so well written,
Well, you know,
executed, performed, arranged, produced. It's like, if I was a songwriter, I would. That's a song I would wish I would want. I would hope that I could write like
Hell
that.
yeah.
well, not only is it a personal favorite from the Abandoned album, it's also a fan favorite. So, of course, it's going to make it onto the best of. But yeah, I don't. Things were just different back then.
Yeah.
I know it's really not that long ago, 2012, but it feels like a long time ago. As I sit here now, it feels forever ago. Especially, where I was when writing those songs. I'm light years away from that. I couldn't write that song now. I just couldn't.
All right, tell me about the 2025 remix of Wait For Me There, track 17.
So Wait For Me There is an important track because it displays my more acoustic side, and it originally came out on the Songs from the Desert Garage EP. But I never was really happy with that original mix. But I love the track. I think it's one of my strongest songs, for songwriting's sake. I just didn't like the mix. So this best of makes a great opportunity to go back and remix Wait For Me There, and put that new mix on the best of, which is a far superior mix. And not only that, but I've kicked myself because I never made a music video for Wait For Me There.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah. And that's like the track that I should have, promoted the EP with.
But you did make a video for that.
Well, here's the deal. With the new mix comes a new music video. There we go. So it worked out nicely. Yeah.
I really liked the new mix. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
So moving forward, Suicide Valentine.
Suicide Valentine is on the
He's made so many records he can't even remember where they are.
Suicide Valentine is from the Death and Valentine EP. Okay? Which is actually the EP before Songs from the Desert Garage. So right now, I think that one's 2021. I'm really having a hard time remembering that EP. Although I will say, some of my strongest stuff is actually on that EP, the Death and Valentine EP, and actually, that EP harbors my darkest track ever.
Which would be?
Death Is Listening.
Well, let's talk about City, track 19.
City. City is a track that I spent 2 months mixing, I'd say. It happens to be my favorite track from the Solace EP from 2018. See, I remember when that came out. City was actually written in Portland, Oregon. So that song was written in 2017 and recorded in 2018. So those are my memories of that track. It reminds me of living in Portland.
Is it the only song you've written in a different state?
Yeah, actually.
Do you feel a difference?
Well, that one just has a different vibe. Mm-hmm. It has kind of that vibe of Portland,
Living in a shower?
Yeah. You can't have a city without people. You can only see the sea line with a steeple.
That's great.
Okay? And I usually don't write about, like the sea and stuff like that, but I'm next to it.
Yep.
So that's kind of the inspiration behind that line. Because I'm seeing the Pacific Ocean every day. You know what I mean?
So you go from the Pacific Ocean to basically living inside of a box. Tell me about this.
Inside this box, okay, yeah. Inside this box is a track that was on the back burner for many years. You know, I just didn't quite know what to do with it. That track took a long time to kind of come together. And, you know, for my final EP, because I've had so many EPs over these 20 years, I needed to put an end to the EP thing. So, Bury Me in the Sky. You know, another 4 tracks inside this box is one of the strongest from that EP.
The Sum of Truth.
Sum of Truth. You know, so Wait for Me There, as I mentioned, is very important because it kind of highlights my acoustic side. The Sum of Truth is also, you know, within the same realm, except instead of acoustic guitar, it's piano, which, you know, comes from the 2023 Midnight Piano album, which is a full, you know, acoustic endeavor. I acquired this really old piano. It's fantastic, this piano. It's my beloved piano. And, which I've given the name Midnight. It's got ivory keys that are chipping off. Anyway, so the piano is from 1913. And this thing's got so much character. So once I, you know, acquired the piano, these songs just came out of nowhere. All these songs, which turned into Midnight Piano. And The Sum of Truth is the first track from that album. And I feel Sum of Truth kind of sums up that album. And that's like the track that, you know, would represent that album.
It represents that period really well.
Yeah, and that was a very strange period, you know, writing and recording that album. That's my memory of it. It was a very strange period. It was very, let's just say I'm happy it's over with. In a way, I have, you know, that piano, in ways, we could say, kind of healed some sorrows.
Track 22, Just Keep On Keeping On.
That's kind of another standout track from my Dead Ringers album from 2020. Once again, it's along the, you know, it's more kind of rock and roll, you know. Just Keep On Keeping On is a favorite, you know, a fan favorite.
Yeah.
For sure. So, you know, that's why it made it on to the best of.
The next track is the last track to be represented from Abandon, and I hear a lot of different influences in this one, especially like a Morton Harkett in the vocal. Into the Day. Tell me a little bit about that one.
Yeah. Into the Day, another banger from Abandon, if I could be so bold. No, a lot of people have expressed to me their love for that song. You know, it's got a great hook to it. It's a pop song, you know. Much, you know, in the vein of Aha. Certain influences are kind of shining through on that one. Not intentional, you know what I mean. It's always years down the road where you know, you might hear a song that you recorded years ago and go, oh, now I can hear what was influencing this, maybe. You know what I mean? There's a lot of Aha in that track. There just is.
Not a bad thing.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
I mean, every little piece counts, right?
Yeah, so, you know, there's not much more to say about that one, but there is about every little piece, which is, what track are we on now?
24.
24. Every Little Piece is from the 2024 Curse EP, which is kind of a counterpart to the Voodoo album from 2023. I kind of see it as a counterpart, you know, Voodoo, Curse. I'm very fond of all the tracks on that EP, but Every Little Piece really stands out. And even though it was written before my dad passed away, I feel that that track was written for him. Just give me a minute. That song moved me when I first wrote it because it's so sad. It is. It's like a different level of sadness. So when I wrote it, you know, I don't know. Maybe it was precognition, or yeah, it just feels like it's his song now, kind of thing. I relate that song with his passing because they happened very close to each other.
So I know that you're a massive U2 fan.
That's right.
Or let's just say, I don't think the word fan.
Admirer.
You're an admirer. You really have been all in. I mean, since what? First grade, second grade?
Since very early on.
And as a listener and an observer of your career, I haven't really. I see the U2 influence.
It's kind of hard not to, even now.
I'm just zoomed in on your face.
Yeah.
I see the influence, and I think texturally, I hear I don't want to use the word influence, the inspiration. With The Outsider, I've only heard like rough mixes or like sneak peek previews, but I definitely pick up on kind of an Unforgettable Fire / Wire 1984 U2.
Yeah, well, The Outsider, the intention behind the direction, because originally the direction was going to be like late 80s Judas Priest. Like, that's where I was going to take it.
Like Ram It Down?
Yeah, like Ram It Down.
Turbo?
But, you know, I came to my senses. So U2 is such a big part of my life. You know, they've been my favorite band my whole life. And one of my biggest influences. Not only like, you know, sonically, but visually as well. But, you know, when you listen to my catalog, you don't really hear a lot of U2. And that, not that I want to sound like other artists, but you just don't hear a lot of U2, which is kind of surprising. Because you can kind of pick up on some of my other influences. Depeche Mode and
Jar.
Jean-Michel Jarre, Aha.
Talk.
Yeah.
Tears for Fears.
Tears for Fears. But you don't really pick up on U2, which is funny because they're number one for me. So when it came time to take The Outsider into the studio and record it, I kind of went in thinking, you know what? I want to capture some Unforgettable Fire vibes. I want to actually go in with the intention of sounding a bit more like U2. And here's the funny thing. You know, when it's all said and done, you know, it comes right back round to sounding like the Rose Phantom.
Oh, for sure.
I wanted to do something different for the outsider. You know, this is it's a brand new track for this best of. You know, so it's an important track, but I want to do something different. I don't just want to, you know, usually it's just me and I start, you know, programming drums or playing drums or whatever, and, you know, just me fiddling about in the basement. You know, I kind of wanted to branch out and work with some other people. So that's when I thought, you know, why don't you work with your brother?
Kind of full circle.
In a way, it's a full circle because Zach had a lot of, you know, he had a lot to do with, you know, the guitar solo on Deja Vu Mirror. Not only that, but, you know, other tracks as well on the Revitalized stuff and the Sleep Slid In stuff. And he's sprinkled in here and there throughout, you know, Rose Phantom releases as well. So it'd be fun to, you know, go back and work with him again. He's currently in a band called Heartsaken, and he's got a fabulous drummer, Johnny Kerr, whatever the fuck. I approached them and I said, you know what? Let me use you guys as my backing band for this track. So Johnny, you could, you know, I want you to play the drums on this one. And then Zach, of course, I gave him the tasks of bass and electric guitar, of course. It was nice to work with people again because I've been alone for so many years. It kind of breathed new life into that track. It wouldn't be the same if I didn't work with them, of course. I think it's a nice track that kind of, and this was the intent, a track that could embody kind of everything I've done. Like the 20 years, everything's there. All the traditional stuff is in there, plus something new. You know, it's a very personal track, as you know, they all are. However, this one isn't about a broken heart. I guess in a way it is. It's kind of like, you know, I've always felt, and I know, you know, there's a lot of people who could relate to this. I've always kind of felt like, you know, I'm the outsider. Here's the world, right? And I'm over here. It's always been that way since childhood. There's never been a moment in my life where it hasn't been that.
You feel alien.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm drawn to aliens as well. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm going to pivot and I'm going to come back to the outsider. I did notice that there's nothing from the Soulless Experiment on this. Do you want to acknowledge why, or do you just want to maybe leave that alone so people can maybe seek that out themselves?
No, they can try and seek it out. Good luck finding it. There was only, 150, 200 cassettes made? You know, and that EP was only available as the cassette. It doesn't exist in the digital bullshit world. It's a physical, tangible thing that you have to, you know, have a system that would play it, for example, like this one here.
I think that
I've got one of these in every room of the house.
Back to the outsider, do you feel this is a positive way to go out? And I have a follow-up question for that. But do you feel this is like a positive way to like kind of end the story?
there was a lot of things I wanted to do before I turned 40. I'm 39 now. And I've met all these goals so far of, you know, doing certain things before a certain age. My film was one of them. You know, I wanted to do that film for many years. I finally somehow succeeded in getting that done. All I know is that I don't want to continue this uphill climb.
Well, that leads me to my follow-up question. I think we can end on this. Have you said everything you wanted to say?
As of right now, yeah, I mean, I don't know if I just really need a break, because I haven't taken a break since high school. It's been go, 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 go. You know, write and record, you know, do all the things, shoot the videos, and then, you know, repeat that for 20 years. I'm exhausted, you know, especially after doing the movie, after doing a full-length 2-hour and 23-minute film, you know. That really took it out of me. How much is enough? To quote The Fix, you know?
Your body of work speaks for itself, quite honestly.
Yeah.
And something I feel you should, I don't want to use the word be proud of, but you've worked really hard and you deserve a break, and you deserve to enjoy these beautiful machines.
Instead of spending 12 plus hours a day staring at a computer screen, it'd be nice to spend 12 plus hours a day on a desert highway, you know, on one of the Harleys, you know. So it just comes down to that. It's like I said, how much is enough? And there's so much there. I've done so much, and, you know, I'm only proud of a fraction of it, honestly. Most of it to me is just mistakes and things I could have done better, you know. So it's only a small portion I'm actually content, you know, with. But that's kept me going for so long, is because I'm not satisfied, because I could do it better. I could do that better. I could do this better.
Well,
but you know what?
It's progression.
Yeah, but you know what? It never fucking ends. That's never going to end. You're never going to be satisfied. You know, forget perfection. You're never going to reach it. You're just not. This could very well be the end. It could be, yeah. I feel that.
I mean, there's got to be people, I don't know if you want to take it down this road, but there's got to be people you want to thank. Maybe people you want to, maybe not specific people, but, you know, is there anything you want to say to anybody that sees this? Like, whether it's a thank you or a fuck you, or not that you want to, like, tell, you know.
Oh, no, there's a couple people that can fuck off, for sure. Because all they did was hinder. You know what I'm saying? So,
I mean, I think it would be very ignorant to kind of ignore those people, and because they're out there for everyone, every creative or every person who's trying to progress.
Yeah. No, I've had my muses over the years, and
I guess that's the question I'm asking. And a muse can be a positive or a negative thing.
In my case, you know, it's kind of it's been a double-edged sword, especially with my previous muse. A lot of sorrow came from that, but it fueled a lot of great songs. I feel like I've rid myself of muses. I'm grateful for the experiences, even though we could say that they were more negative over the years. It reflects in my music. But I'm grateful to have learned from them. And, you know, the music was a way to, you know, heal and rid, you know. Okay, so the only for sure thing about Ted is nothing's for sure. Can you recall the words? Loneliness, loneliness inside. In this world, tears like rain on a holiday. Leaves a stain on the X-ray on the outside.